Alright, this is a flip from hell. As you can see, that security vehicle that was back there, I purchased it at 83,000 miles on it. Now, this vehicle did not have an oil change for 50,000 miles. So when this car came in, it was trash. It was used by a security company. I got it pretty cheap, and I thought I'd be able to sell it because it was worth good money because it was low mileage. Now, the front bumper needed to be painted. You can see it was missing the grill. The interior pieces were falling apart. It was smoked in. This is a picture of the air filter, and here's the engine. As you can see, this engine is really loud. It has a knock, and it's probably because oil hasn't been changed for 50,000 miles. The AC did work and a couple other things, so I wasn't too worried. I thought maybe I could flush the engine and get all that gunk out and get this engine running. So the first thing I did was let's take the old nasty oil out. So we took the old filter off to see how it looked like underneath after we drained the fuel, not the fuel, the gas, oil. And when we finally got this filter off, because it's pretty on there really tight, you can see it's completely caked. The oil in there is baked onto it. It has particulate in it from the engine. So there's a lot of damage has been done to this engine. So I'm not sure if this engine will be able to be saved. I definitely know that the bearings are shot on the bottom just by hearing the knock. So what I did is we started with the first simple oil change, which was really nasty. As you can see, it's not even oil anymore. It looks more like gunk. So this was the oil that came out. It was completely black, had flake in it. It felt like it was sand almost in the paint, not the paint, the oil. And it just really came out gritty and nasty. It was pretty disgusting. And when we were getting it out, we were hoping that, it didn't have any metallic flake in it, because that's not a good sign. As you can see, these are magnetized oil caps, and you can see how much metal is actually magnetized to the top of that oil plug. So that means that there's a lot of flake in that engine, so the engine might need to be completely rebuilt at this point. So this was the first oil change. Nasty dark black thick gooey oil came out. You can see it running over. That's my uncle's finger, and he felt it and he felt it. He said, oh man, that's gritty, it feels like sand. So that's not a good sign. That means that the pistons, the rod bearings, and the camshaft and all that are probably rubbing up against each other and starting to actually flake. So this car more than likely will need a whole engine rebuild. I was hoping I can get away with just doing a simple thing of fixing it, doing a couple of flushes. The flush I wanted to get was the BG flush. I ordered it, but unfortunately they wouldn't ship it because it was considered a hazard. I wasn't able to find any local shop that would get it. It's about a $400 flush.
Still knocking, but it sounds
you hear
better.
The engine is definitely still knocking. It's got a loud roar to it. It's definitely coming from the underside of the engine, which is not a good sign. Then we decided to just do the best we could do at home. So we ran a couple of, it's called Molly engine flush. I bought 3 of those, and I bought the cheapest oil I could find, just to run it through the engine for about 10 minutes each, and then drain it out and see what we would get. As you can see now, this is the second oil change. The oil is definitely thinner, but still dark and nasty. Does not look good. So we kept it going. This right here is not like what the engine oil looked like when it went in. It was not this black. It was actually very like a Cornish color. So we just kept doing it, kept trying to see persistent. Maybe we can get this engine fixed on our own and save a whole rebuild, which would cost anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000. So after that one, we ran it again, checked the engine.
Number 2.
Got a little bit quieter, but still definitely had the knock.
It is running.
And the knock is not a good sign. This is just a learning experience for me. I'm not an expert, so there's not much you can do to get rid of a knock without rebuilding the whole engine, now that I know. This is the final oil change. You can see now it's coming back to like a normal oil color. You can actually see through the oil. You can actually see my uncle's finger this time. So this is a good sign. But we were thinking that maybe, hey, a lot of that gunk got out. It's looking good. When we tried to run it though, the power on the car
Fill it
was
up
very
again
low. It was losing
and our
power
fingers
and
crossed.
dying on us. So I'm thinking it
Well,
has some major
almost.
combustion
Yeah,
issues
see-through.
inside.
You can see through
Maybe
it,
a
so
bearing fell apart, maybe a
pretty good
piston is,
shape.
so we didn't want to knock a hole into the engine, so we stopped. I had it sent out to a shop. This shop was in Venice, and they rebuilt the engine, which was the worst thing I've ever had done because it took them 4 months. It went through a hurricane, the hood got damaged, I had to get a new hood. Finally got it back. I got the new hood put on, I got the bumper painted, I cleaned up the car as well as I could, washed it, clay barred it, decontaminated it, cleaned it as much as I could, got the tires all pumped up. I couldn't take off the security thing. It was actually like baked onto the paint. I tried to get it off and I could not. It was something that's beyond my expertise. So the inside I got as clean as I could. I re-glued the door panel. Instead of replacing the steering wheel, I put a cover on it. I actually put a smoke bomb in it to get rid of the smoke smell. So it was actually looking not too bad, and got it as clean as I could get it without doing removing all the interior. So now this car actually ended up going to Carvana, and I sold it. It only took a couple of days after I got it. They came, loaded it up, cut me a check. They were happy with it because the AC worked, the car ran. I had to spend $5,000 to get the engine rebuilt. So they got a brand new engine with 2-year warranty, but I got rid of it.